بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وأفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا وسندنا وحبيبنا وحبنا وحبنا ونورنا وقدوتنا وإمامنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين وعلى أصحابه الكاملين أجمعين لا سيما على أفضلهم بالتحقيق سيدنا أمير المؤمنين أبي بكر الصديق رضي الله عنه وعلى سيدنا عمر وعلى سيدنا عثمان وعلى سيدنا ومولانا علي كرم الله وجهه الكريم وعلى سيدة النساء فاطمة الزهراء سلام الله عليها وعلى الحسنين الكريمين وجميع الصحابة وأهل بيت المصطفى وعلى أولياء أمة سيدنا محمد عليه الصلاة والسلام ونحن معهم وفيهم اللهم يا رب العالمين. Continuing in the silsila of the ahadith from Riyadh al-Salihin, there's a number of ahadith. Some of them I'm going to have to summarize, but there's one hadith that I thought I should mention about, because this is dealing with tawakkul, and we've been dealing with tawakkul now for a couple of days. This hadith, one of the hadith of Rasulullah ﷺ said, which is a protection when somebody leaves the house, is that when somebody leaves, man qala, يعني إذا خرج من بيته, that when somebody leaves the house, that they say, Bismillahi tawakkaltu ala Allah, wa la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. And the Prophet ﷺ said that if you hear him say that, then say, Hudita wa kufita wa waqita. Ala kullin, what a beautiful thing, that when you leave the house, the Prophet ﷺ said, Bismillahi tawakkaltu ala Allah wa la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. That in the name of Allah, I have depended upon Allah, and there is no power and might except Allah. Yesterday, we looked at the real importance of tawakkul as a spiritual concept that is rooted in Aqeedah. That it's only through a proper understanding of Tawheed that one could truly have tawakkul. So, and I answered the question that can you have spirituality, and I don't like that term much, but let's use at-tasawwuf, spirituality without a correct aqeedah. And I said no, you can't. If your aqeedah is corrupt when it comes to tawheed, how are you going to have tawakkul? And I gave the example of Muslims running to the gurus is the example that I gave for their spiritual healings, rather than returning back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That was an example. And there are other examples that can be given in this regard. Like, for example, your doorway to Allah is through Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam. His sunnah, your love for him alayhi salatu wasalam. If your aqeedah is incorrect with regards to the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, then you can do what you want. You could do what you want. You'll never attain. Impossible. You know, like the Buddhists, for example, there's no denying that they're experiencing things. You know, the people that go and do their chille, on top of a mountain for like 30 years, they are having spiritual experiences. Otherwise, they wouldn't be doing it for 30 years. ये कहना कि ये जो है ना बुद्धिस्ट हजरात, कि ये जो चिल्ले कटते हैं 10, 20, 30 साल के, तो कुछ महसूस करते हैं, इसीलिए तो वो करते हैं. तो the point is not that you don't have experiences. Absolutely you have experiences. The issue is that those experiences are the same, like if somebody has paracetamol and it takes away the headache. आदमी paracetamol खाता है तो उसका जो सर का दर्द था वो थोड़ा सा खफीफ हो जाता है. ये तो काफिर के लिए भी होता है. अगर आप दवाई लेंगे तो वो तो होगा ना, right? But when you want a complete cure, you have to go to the physician. जब आपको पूरी तरह, आप सिर्फ जो है ना कालपोल पैरास्टामोल जो भी, ये काफी नहीं है, आपको वो जो ना इलाज की जरूरत है, they to operate, फिर तो आपको तबीब के पास जाना होगा ना. Then you have to go to a tabib. And the tabib of all atibba is Sayyidul Khalq, Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. जब तक कि हुजूर की सुन्नत, हुजूर का तरीका, हुजूर की सीरत, हुजूर की मोहब्बत जब तक ना होगी, वो चिल्ले काटते रहे, कोई असर नहीं होगा. If somebody's aqidah is incorrect, there will be people, hadith, on Yawm al-Qiyamah, that the Rasulullah is going to call them, oh, drink from my hawd. You know, the Prophet has been promised a big hawd. It's like a river that's huge, pouring from Jannah, sweeter than honey and whiter than milk. Anyone that drinks from it once will never be thirsty again. The great hawd. May Allah Ta'ala give us tawfiq to drink from it. Ameen. Say Ameen, yaar. Koi pata lag gaya. And he's going to call them, Acho Acho Pio, come drink. And the angels are going to come and they're going to say, Ya Rasulullah, not these lot. They're not yours. And then what the malaika, the angels, what they're going to say? You don't know what they did after you. Meaning what? Rasulullah has been given knowledge by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Absolutely. But the point is, Ya Rasulullah, these were people that did things after you. They said things after you that they're not worthy of being in your ummah. They're not worthy. They're not worthy. Because adab towards the Messenger of Allah alayhi salatu wasalam, this is the key. Look, yaar, think about it, yeah? Use your aql on this one. Aap aql ko istemal kare. First forget aql. Let's go to naql, yeah? Let's go to the Quran. Allah says, Ati'u Allah, in kuntum tuhibbuna Allah fattabi'uni. This Quran, isn't it? I'm quoting. Quran is a hidayah. So listen to what the Quran is saying. In kuntum tuhibbuna Allah. If you truly have mahabba, love of Allah, fattabi'uni, and follow me. Follow me. What's going to happen? Yuhbibkum Allah. Allah will love you. Wa yaghfir lakum dhunubakum. And Allah will forgive all of your sins. So now the door to Allah, because yesterday we talked about Tawheed has to be correct in order for you to have tawakkul. Naam. But in order for your Tawheed to be correct, for you to have true ma'rifah, the only way you can get there is through Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam. You can't go through Buddhism. You can't go through Hinduism, can you? वो हिंदू जो है ना, वो उनके पंडित, वो भी बड़े बड़े चिल्ले काटते हैं. Buddhists, the monks, Christian monks. Do you think I've talked to a Christian priest once, and I could tell that he was mukhlis in his deen. Agarche uska deen batil hai, for us we wouldn't accept that, but he was mukhlis in his deen. It's not that they're not experiencing things. It's can you get all the way? Can you achieve ultimate haqa'iq? هذا شيء آخر. هذا شيء آخر. This is why I said, आप pharmacy तो जा सकते हैं, paracetamol आपको मिल जाएगी. But to get the ilaj, to get it removed, the operation, you have to go to a tabib. And the tabib al-atibba is khairul wara sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wa sallam. His sharia, his way, no other way. No other way. So he's important, and that's why you can have all of these progressive, sort of liberal, leftist Muslims today. So many. It's shocking. I told you once before, I had a guy came to me in Cambridge, and we had this, this thing. And he came up to me and he said, and he was on the panel. So he was like somebody important, right? Hashr ko hoga malum ki jeeta kaun, hara kaun. Who's important, who's not important, we'll find out on Yawm al-Hashr. On Yawm al-Qiyamah, we'll find out who's important. Today you can enjoy it. You'll find out then. What does he carry on saying? Hashr ko hoga malum ki jeeta kaun, hara kaun. Aur hum chalenge, suwe hashr, was it Sayyidul Abrar ke saath? On that day we're going to go with Sayyidul Abrar sallallahu alayhi wasallam. And you can go. And what does the Quran say? Everybody should be raised Yawm al-Qiyamah with their Imam. Choose wisely who your Imam is. Imam here doesn't mean your Imam al-Masjid. They're like, oh no. And you don't get a choice on who your Imam al-Masjid is. So you don't want to be stuck with the wrong person. No, here they mean your Imam. Who are you going to be raised with? You wouldn't be raised with the people like the hadith. What did the Sahaba, Qurban, maybe we sacrifice for the Sahaba, Ridwanullah, alayhim ajma'een. You know what they said to the Prophet ﷺ? Aina, what the Sahabi says, Aina ajiduka ya Rasulallah. That's all one should know. Ya Rasulullah, where am I going to find you on Yawm al-Qiyamah? It's going to be, this is the day like moths, in a state of drunkenness. Can you imagine? Like if the building started to shake with an earthquake, how everyone starts rushing out and pushing each other. Can you imagine everyone that was ever created in one on Hashr, on that plain in Arafah? Everybody's going to be there. Can you imagine what sort of day that's going to be? You get raised from the graveyard in Aylesbury, from the graveyard in High Wycombe, all the people buried, everybody coming out, rushing. Can you imagine that day is haqq. In fact, that day is more true than tomorrow. Tomorrow you're not promised. Yawm al-Qiyamah is promised. Everyone will experience that day. So, you make dua, you say, Ya Allah, when you take a shaykh, for example, what's the niyat? If I can't find Rasulullah on that day, let me find someone who will be looking for him. So I can hold on to him. Say, Tikya, I can't get all the way there. I'll go with you. You take me there. This is important. Like you want to go to an event. Yeah? Let's say you have your Rukn Shura, for example. And you think, I'm not going to get to meet the main people. So what I'll do is I'll tag along in his car. And so when they turn up, they won't ask who he is. They'll just be like, Chalo, he's with the head of this area, and they'll let him in. And so that's what you do. I always, when I've been honored, Garche Musharraf Shud Jami. What does Jami say? He says, Garche Musharraf Shud Jami. Even though Jami has been honored to go to Medina Munawwara, and he said, E Karam Bare Digar Kun. I made this happen again and again. Khudaya E Karam Bare Digar Kun, from the lines of Mullah Jami Rahimullah. And he said, and it's a beautiful dua. It's a dua you should make. But when I went, some of our ulama, they mentioned the way. And so they would say, some of the mashayikh would say that we would first go and we would give salam at Baqi' to the Sahaba of the Prophet, to the daughter of the Prophet to say the Fatima. We would give our salams there first when we would enter. And then from that we would go into Medina, into the Masjid Nabawi, into Bab al-Salam, and we would give. And did you know? Let me teach you the manhaj. Aaj hum Bab al-Salam se dakhil hote hain na. Which side is? Most people have probably been to Umrah Sharif, yeah? Those of you that haven't, may Allah Ta'ala take you, and those of you that have, may Allah Ta'ala take you again and again, and may Allah Ta'ala, as Sayyidina Umar used to make the dua, may Allah give us death in Medina Munawwara. We ask her, at least, Ya Rabbi, at least I say, I don't mean it like that, in that way, yeah? Understand my words. That, Ya Rabbi, we ask if you, let us be buried in Gentle Baqiyah. That even if we die in Aylesbury, we beg you, Ya Rabbi, that the angels carry our body and bury us in Baqiyah. Allahumma ameen. The first people to be raised with the Prophet ﷺ and the Baqi. People, they think about this just through pure, sentiment. It's not just sentiment, it's very practical. On the day of judgment, I don't want to be looking for the Prophet ﷺ. I want to come out of my grave and he's there. That's what I want. What if I don't find him? What if I don't find him? And so if I'm buried in Baqi', may Allah Ta'ala write that in our muqaddar, out of His karam. And not because we're worthy of it, hasha, we're worthy of it. There's a line, Peter Nasir used to read it, and that's the only reason why I love it. Otherwise, personally, I get scared from the line, where was it, Bir mein chumali shah ki jaliya. Was it something, Nazar teri himmat pe lakhu salam. Some of our Buzurg, Sayyidi Ala Hazrat mentions that you shouldn't talk about, even touching the mesh of the Prophet's grave. He said, my hands are too dirty. Like these dirty hands touching something connected to the Messenger of Allah, alayhi salatu wasalam. People had adab. There's no book written to rules of love. Somebody is married and they're in love with their wife, for example. Yeah, or vice versa. Is there like a book that this is what you're supposed to do, this is what you're supposed to do? No. Individual relationships are different. However you want to show izhar muhabbat. Muhabbat doesn't have rules as long as it does not contradict the Sharia. Nothing is allowed to contradict the Sharia. Nothing. That's not love. That's fake. Anything that is against, like the person that says, oh, Mazakir there's a Peer Sahib. By the way, I told you about the word Peer. Hakiki ma'na of Shaykh, of Alim, of Ba Shara, of Ba Taqwa. I'm not talking about those type of. I never misunderstand me. I'm not saying it for you. Our Buzurgan ala Ra's wal Ain, the great awliya of this ummah, our Mashaikh, our teachers, we love them. And they are Ahlul. I'm talking about people write name next to it and then and it's just fake trickery. And he sat there and the murids are sat down with him and namaz time comes and he doesn't read namaz. And they watched him and thought, chalo koi. Second namaz comes, no namaz. Third one, no namaz. They say, Hazrat, so namaz ko na padne. And he goes, tuso kol basirat ko nahi, main Madina Sharif jayta padna. Yeah, or main Makkah Sharif jayta padna, right? That's where I got to read my namaz. So, theek hai. Then it came dinner time, and they put the chawal out, and the Peer Sahib looks at it, and he goes, this is botiya ko nahi? There's no botiya, no meat in the chawal. And they said, Hazrat Sahib, asra, chammach maro na thoda ja. Chammach mare na, and he goes, botiya hates them. He goes, "Tu Madina Sharif jayta namaz padhi sakni ho, to tu kehta hate botiya nahi nazar, right? Making a joke in it, right? And when it comes time to collecting your nazarane, then there's no khaibi note. Your note is not a khaibi. You know the 10, 20 pound note? There's no khaib there. It's hazir. It's hazir. Give it to me now in my pocket. But when it comes to namaz usul khaib namaz padne ho, nothing against the Sharia. Or I need to do ruqya on the women. Yeah, so the male peers. Yeah. Over in private, and the ruqyas ajib. And then people are like, nay, Hazrat Sahib, Khizr in the Quran, he did ajib things as well, right? And the Ahl Zahid didn't understand it. Yar, please, keep these arguments to yourself. Yeah? What we were left and that we know is the Sharia of Rasulullah. Let's say, but never with these sort of haram things, yeah? But let's say Allah Ta'ala gives kashf and knowledge. Do you think He's going to give kashf, insights, new knowledge to somebody that will contradict the Sharia of Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam? Did you see Abu Bakr do that? Did you see Umar do that? Did you see Uthman do that? Did you see Ali do that? Did you see Hassan and Hussein do that? Which Shaykh Peer can be greater than them? Lie. Don't do it. Don't let them manipulate you, emotionally blackmail you. Sharia is very important. गलतियां हो जानी हैं इंसान को mashayikh, all of that, insanity in it. When you have a shaykh, it doesn't mean that they can't make a mistake. That's another mistake that people make. They put them on the mansab or nubuwa. They can't make any mistake. Of course they can. They're not nabi. Ghaltiyan ho sakniyan. Bade kolo bhi chote kolo ho sakniyan. But they would never do it willingly. Like it was not something that they would do and lie about it and or say it's okay. Just ghalti ho gaya. They'd make tawbah the same way everybody else make tawbah. Don't be manipulated with these arguments. The Sharia, this is why Allah, one of the things, the people, I'm telling you people, if they understood that manhaj, this is why I keep saying it, they won't go astray. He's very clear on the conditions of a shaykh. And the first condition of a shaykh is that he's ba'amal with the Sharia of Rasulullah. That's it. And he's ahlul ilm. Doesn't have to be an allama. Doesn't have to be a scholar. He has to know ilm of deen, what the Sharia is. He can't be ignorant of it. He has to know the masail. Aqidah has to be correct, etc., etc., etc. So the reason why I mention these things is because the doorway is Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam. And it's not just, I was mentioning about wasila, about Baqi'. Yes. The Sahaba, what did he say? Aina ajiduka ya Rasulullah. Where am I going to find you, ya Rasulullah? So you want to be buried in Baqi', because he is Shafi'ul Umam, sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi sallam. So when we're talking about tawakkul, again, I keep saying it, you probably think I'm off topic. I'm actually not off topic. Tawakkul, people saying it tasawwuf, Sufis. You cannot be a Sufi unless your Aqidah is correct. You can't be. Otherwise, like I said, you've got lots of people that are claimants to Sufism, or you've got people that are Buddhists that are spiritual, Christians, monks, you've got them all. I visited in Rome. We were there, part of a little thing from that time when I was in Cambridge, and we went visited these nuns, and they got their own little farm. It was wonderful, experience. Everything is organic, and I thought, that's how you're supposed to be living, really, right? But they're all nuns, never got married, all day in ibadat, khidmat khalq, doing so much khair, there's no doubt about that. And you could tell they were very humble, you could tell they had good akhlaq, all of that. So I have no doubt that they will have interesting experiences in life. I have no doubt about that. Because Allah Ta'ala gives you. He doesn't waste your amal. You do good amal, Allah Ta'ala gives you your reward. But where? How far can it take them? Can they take them to absolute ma'rifah of Allah? To mansab of wilaya? No, they can't. They can never reach that. Why? Because they're kuffar. And will it take them into the akhirah? No, it won't take them into the akhirah. That's why Allah is Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim. What do our ulama say? Ar-Rahman is someone that is emphatically merciful. Ar-Rahim is istimrar, it's continuously merciful. The ulama say that Allah is Rahman for everybody, Musliman and Kafir. But Rahim only for the Muslims. Because that continues into the hereafter. So the Prophet teaches us this dua, Bismillahi tawakkaltu ala Allah. Again, tawakkul. In fact, let me mention this to you. Yeah? There's another hadith in the bab of tawakkul on Aqidah. Just to put this point there, right? There's a number of beautiful hadith. I'm going to go forward, I'm going to come back to this, right? Where it's the hadith from Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiyallahu anhu warda. Let me mention one last thing to you and I'll let you go. Where's the hadith? Ala kullin, it's the hadith where I'll summarize it. But it was in the bab, so I thought I'll read it to you. But it seems as though I missed, I can't remember exactly where it is. So it'll come up in the reading when we read the book, inshallah, when we continue with the book. Anyway, the Prophet ﷺ, when they go into the Thawr, in the Thawr, Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, the kuffar came right outside the cave. And those of you that have climbed Thawr, I've had the good fortune of climbing Thawr, it's really high. It's very high. And it's not like Hira. Hira, they've got steps made. Yeah? So it's easier to climb. Thawr, there are no steps made. Yeah? And you gotta love the Pakistanis, isn't it? I'm at the bottom contemplating, chala ya na chala. Yeah? I wasn't feeling well that day. And so I said to the guy, I knew Hira, that was quite high. And I wasn't feeling well. So I said to the guy, I goes, is it bigger than Hira? And he goes, no, it's half of Hira. And it's not, it's double of Hira, right? So he said it, I don't know whether that was his way of telling a white lie to encourage me, or whether I just misunderstood him. So I thought, okay, if it's half, chalo, no problem. And but I'm very glad. And it was like noon. When I got up there, it was noon. And so even the Pakistanis walking out looking at him, bhai, aapko kya ho gaya? Ye to waqt nahi hai. But when I went up there, it was beautiful. It was me and one Daud Sahibada. I just met him in there. And there was unfortunately there's one guy. This is what I mean. Your Aqidah has to be correct. We climbed up Thawr, following the footsteps of the beloved. That Rasulullah climbed up here, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I just want to climb where he climbed. Yeah? Just, I've got there's no vasta with a mountain called Thawr. It's only because Rasulullah climbed it that matta I get to touch and kiss a place that the Prophet ﷺ's blessed sandals would have touched. Khalas. And maybe that will be pleasing to Allah, that I love something that His beloved loved, and Allah will give me Jannah because of it. That's it. Climbed all the way to the top, got inside. Before I got inside, and you've always got that one guy. Look, one guy climbed up to the top of the mountain. I'm not talking about me, Mara koi pata nahi, but I'm talking about the downside brother. Climbed to the top of the mountain out of his love for Rasulullah, following the footsteps of the beloved. My Mahbub came here. Like the famous poet, I kissed the walls of Layla. He's an Arab poet. I kissed the walls of Layla. Not because the walls have any significance, because they remind me of my beloved. Muhabbat and love. Hazrat. Apne apne andaz und ajibana. One guy climbs up to the top out of his love for Rasulullah, and another guy was climbing up the top just to remind everybody that you're all mushrikun, you're all people of shirk, and you're all going to go to hell anyway, right? That because you climbed up, and I didn't want to argue now, that's my rule, Makkah and Medina, I don't argue with anybody, no way I don't, especially Medina Munawwara. They say, our Mashaykh used to say, don't even complain about your stay, your room, the tap, don't complain about it. Why? Because Medina Munawwara have adab. That's why remember when the thorn entered the foot accidentally into Sayyidi Allah. This really happened, by the way. It's not just a poem that he wrote. And he pulled out the thorn and he wrote it in poetry. I can't remember do you remember it? And he pulled out the thorn from his foot. And he said, "Oh thorn of Medina, what do you have with my foot? Would that you come into my eye." Meaning the thorn of Medina. This is love, Hazrat. This is an andaz of love. They used to say, somebody said, "Oh, I'm, if only I was counted amongst the dogs of Medina." And he turned around and said, "How dare you? How dare you claim that you could be even close to the animals that walk around in the city of Medina?" It's love. It's not like haqiqat, someone's comparing himself to an animal. It's love. Trying to say that these creatures that Allah has honored to be in Medina, and look at me, my bad nasibi, that I wasn't allowed to be in Medina. That I lived far away. Is heart of mahabba, languages of love. Ala kullin, and he's up there and he's complaining to people. I said, "Ya chor, you climbed all the way to the top of Thawr just to tell people that you shouldn't be climbing to the top of Thawr. What are you doing, yaar? Koi ita patra na puja karsi, koi pagal utso, koi dimag istemal karo, akal istemal karo. Do you think these rocks that I'm going to worship it? Like I'm here because the Prophet came here. I just want to sit where he sat. I want to enjoy the same air that he would have enjoyed. He's my beloved. What am I going to he's the most precious of creation to Allah Azza wa Jal. Don't you understand that? Can't you get that through your heads? Can't you get that? You actually have a hadith. They are not aqwal al-buzurg. These are actual ahadith where Allah said, "Lawlaka ya Muhammad." Had it not been for you, O Muhammad, I would not have created Adam nor the heavens and the earth. But I wanted that insan kamil, that perfect worshipper. That's what I wanted. Al-insanul kamil, the perfect worshipper. The perfect worshipper. That's what I wanted. That's why I created the whole universe. I did that. But you were my maqsood. Is that a small thing? I don't know, this reductionism in our deen, where it came from. We're not philosophers. Muslims, not everything is just rational. There's a lot to do with the heart. Ala kullin, me and the brother sat in the Thawr, and I started singing Mawla Ya Salli Wa Sallam. And he goes, "Bhaiya, thoda sa ucha padh le, to hum bhi sabke saath padhte." I said, "Theek hai, but there's just me and him there." So we sat there for the whole afternoon singing the burda and remembering the days of the Prophet ﷺ. What a beautiful thing. And I remember thinking, looking for the holes. And I mentioned the story before. Looking for the holes. Because when Sayyidina Abu Bakr, it was only Abu Bakr and the Prophet ﷺ. And this is why I said about Aqidah today. Your Aqidah has to be correct. You want Allah, you go through Rasulullah. You want Rasulullah, you go through Abu Bakr. Radiyallahu anhu warda, you go through his Sahaba. Absolutely. And right now in the world, in certain parts of the world, particularly Pakistan, people lost their minds. Absolutely lost their minds. But like you got Sunnis, historic Sunnis, right? That these have been Sunnis, not Shia. Historically Sunni. That are trying to create a taqabul between Ashab and Ahlul Bayt. It's unbelievable. I can't believe I'm living in these times where you got Sunnis. This is someone that's been Sunni his whole life, not Shia, and he's trying to make a taqabul, making a fight almost out of the Sahaba and Ahlul Bayt. That's what the Shia do. Sunnis don't do that. They don't do that. You'll be in the days of Sayyidina Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, and they won't utter a good word about Sayyidina Abu Bakr. These are Urs, Sayyidina Abu Bakr. They won't utter a single good word about Sayyidina Abu Bakr. What are you doing? What are you doing? And the hadith, I didn't quote the hadith. When they're in the cave, and we know in the Quran Allah Ta'ala mentions يَقُولُ لِصَاحِبِهِ لَا تَحْزَنْ إِنَّ اللَّهَ مَعَنَا. And what that means, I did the khutbah on that. And then in the hadith, he said, Ya Rasulullah, if they just look like this, Because if you've been to the Thawr, you know it's only got a little bit of at the front. Yeah, you just have to do that and you can see. I went and tested it. So I went around the front and I went, Vaki, absolutely not that I mistrusted it. I just wanted, to see it. And I looked and I thought, yeah, Vaki, they would have easily seen them. The cave is tiny. And the Prophet ﷺ said, oh, Abu Bakr, what do you say about those two where Allah is the third? Allah is the third. Tawakkul is that knowledge that Allah is the third, that Allah is there. But also look at the maqam of Sayyidina Bakr in here. So you will never have these spiritual openings of tawakkul, of resilience when your aqeedah is correct. Never. When your aqeedah is incorrect, sorry. No. So you got this madness. And I said to I say to them that remember one thing. I was mentioning the whole. Let me mention that first. When Sayyidina Bakr carried the Prophet up, he carried him up. And then Sayyidina Bakr's daughter, every night, do you know how far Thawr is from Makkah? Like, I don't know if you've been, if you haven't been, yeah, we'll go, make a group, right? Let's go. It's far. There's no cars. She's a young teenage girl, radiyallahu anha, and she's walking from Makkah, and it was all jungle, woods. And she was traveling every evening. It would take you the entire day to get there, just to bring them food. She did that. That's the qurbani of the family of Sayyidina Bakr. How dare you, wallahi, forgive me saying this, sat on the musalla of the Prophet ﷺ, but you despicable creatures that have bughz for Sayyidina Bakr. You despicable creatures. If you have bughz, hatred for any of the Sahaba or anyone from Ahlul Bayt, I have nothing to say good about you. Nothing. I'm sorry. Nothing good. To have bughz for any of the Sahaba. Sunnis, yar. Sunnis, Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah. To have bughz of Sahaba. Where did this come from? Can't find a good word to say about Sayyidina Bakr. We're going to do the Jan Nisar. Their entire lives dedicated to Rasulullah ﷺ, buried right next to him sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I mentioned that, Babu Salam now is this way you go in. And you go down past Riyadh al-Jannah, and then the first Muwajjaha Sharifa is of Sayyidina Muhammad, the Prophet ﷺ, right? Then Sayyidina Bakr, and then Sayyidina Umar. Did you know the Babu Salam, and then you go out of Babu al-Baqi'? Yeah? I don't know if I can describe it to you. You come in this way, then the Muwajjah Sharif was on that side. The Prophet ﷺ, Sayyidina Bakr, Sayyidina Umar, out of Bab al-Baqi'. It's called Bab al-Baqi' because it's the door towards Baqi'. Bab al-Baqi' used to be Bab al-Salam before. Did you know that? That used to be Bab al-Salam. You used to enter from there. Why? Because they used to say when you go in, first you give salam to the Sahaba, and in honor of that, then you give salam to the Prophet ﷺ. By the barakah of that, adab. That's the teaching of a lot of adab when you go for the Sahaba. And now you're going to say something about the Sahaba? Who is those two and Allah is the third? Wallahi, I'm telling you, this is ajib ibtila for the ummah. Ajib. Remember one thing, if you say you are Sunni and you are Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, if you say you are Sunni, remember one thing, just remember this, learn it, love it. Your gateway to Rasulullah is the Sahaba. Every single person that our ulama said is a companion of the Prophet, for us ala ra's wal ayn. And that includes from the greatest of them, like Hazrat Abu Bakr, Hazrat Umar, Hazrat Uthman, Hazrat Ali, who has multiple fada'il because he is from Ahlul Bayt as well. All the Sahaba until those after the Fath of Makkah, like Hazrat Abu Sufyan, like Hazrat Hinda, like Hazrat Amir Muawiyah radiyallahu anhum ajma'in, all of them are Sahaba and crowns and iron. And anyone that has anything negative to say about them is not from us. You can leave us. You are not from Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, you're from the people of the Shayyu'. And people can argue that if somebody feels hatred in their heart, even a little bit, for Sayyidina Muawiyah, Sayyidina Amr ibn al-As, Sayyidina Hind, Abu Sufyan, or anyone like that, you are not from Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah, and you should go and cry and make tawbah to Allah Ta'ala, Ya Allah, to rid my heart of any bughz for the Sahaba. And likewise, if you are Sunni, Ahl Sunnah, then you have absolute love for Ahlul Bayt. You have love. You have no problem in saying Ali alayhi salam, Fatima alayhi salam. You have no problem in that. Bukhari did it. You love Ahlul Bayt. This is the awlad of the Prophet ﷺ, his family. You say, ala ra's wal ayn. Like, I kiss the ground that you walk on, yar. This is Ahlul Bayt, Ali Muhammad. If anyone felt any bughz in their heart for Ahlul Bayt, you are not from Ahlul Sunnati wal Jama'ah. You are Nasbi. And you're the worst of people. Protect these aqaid. Wallahi, na da ki puri zindagi banda tahajjud padna reha, neki na kam karna reha, to thodi ji bughz nahi mari ho qiyamat rola ja. You don't want that. And not until all of these aqaid are sound, you will never reach the mansab of wilaya. You want to imbibe all of this tawakkul. Easy to say that tawakkul, have sabr, have this. Yeah, you want these spiritual openings. Aqeedah has to be correct. May Allah Ta'ala give us tawfiq. I make dua. I don't mean to offend people. But if you get offended, you have to ask yourself why. Are you offended because I'm wrong? Or are you offended because I'm right? If I'm wrong, come and correct me. Let's talk. But if I'm right, and then you're still offended, ask yourself, Allah maaf kara. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I make dua, wallahi, I make dua, Ya Allah, Ya Kareem, Ya Rabbil Alameen. We beg of you, Ya Allah, give us sahihul aqeedah, Ya Rabbil Alameen. Give us the correct aqeedah about you, the correct aqeedah about your Rasul, the correct aqeedah about the Sahaba, the correct aqeedah about Ahlul Bayt, the correct aqeedah about the awliya of this ummah. Ya Allah, protect us, preserve us, fill our hearts with love of your Sahaba, Ya Rabbil, the Sahaba of Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam, love for his Ahlul Bayt. Ya Allah, when the virtues of the Sahaba are mentioned, let our hearts overflow with joy. And when the virtues of the Ahlul Bayt are mentioned, allow our hearts to overflow with joy, Ya Rabbil Alameen. Ya Akram al-Akrameen, Ya Arham al-Rahimeen. We beg of you, Ya Rabbil Alameen, protect us from going astray in any of these slight ways, Ya Rabbil Alameen. Bring the ummah back, Ya Rabbil Alameen, to the straight path of Ahlul Sunnati wal Jama'ah. Ya Allah, give us life upon this, give us death upon this. Ya Allah, our hearts are between your blessed, your two fingers, Ya Rabbil Alameen, as mentioned in the hadith. Ya Allah, you can flip our hearts anyway. We are not in control of any of that, Ya Rabbil Alameen. We ask of you out of your mercy, out of your jood, out of your karam, your man, protect our aqeedah, Ya Rabbil Alameen, the aqeedah of our children, and the ummah of your Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, Ya Rabbil Alameen, Ya Arham al-Rahimeen. وصل اللهم وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين آمين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين.